Okay, so welcome back to our series dedicated to solving CodeWars Kata. And for this video, we're going to be solving 3 katas that are all level 7. And this first one is called debug sum of digits of a number. It's asking us to debug a function called get sum of digits. It wants to take a positive integer and then calculate the sum of its digits. And it's telling us that the argument will always be an integer. And here in the example, as you can see, if you add 1 and 2 and 3, you get to 6. Same goes for 2, 2, 3, and same for this last case as well. And so here, this is pretty uncommon in katas where it kind of gives you some code. So just for simplicity and completeness sake, we're going to kind of delete that and make our solution on our own. So first, we're going to just declare sum as equal to 0 because we know we're going to need to be adding to a sum because we want to sum all the digits. So that's just kind of our first step there. And then we're going to want to loop through our number. And here, it's actually important to realize that you can't loop through an integer like this. So we're going to need to convert it into a string just momentarily. And then we're going to want to add sum plus equals our x. But we can't just do x because it's a string. You can't add a string to an integer. So we're going to need to convert it back into an int. And then we're just going to return our sum. So let's go ahead and test that. Passed our one test case here, and then our second, or the rest as well. So we're going to go ahead and submit that and move on to our next problem. So this next problem is called beginner series number 3, sum of numbers. Again, level 7 kata. Given 2 integers, a and b, which can be positive or negative, find the sum of all the numbers between them and including them and return it. If the 2 numbers are equal, return a or b. And it's important to note here that a and b are not ordered. And so let's jump right in. So first, we're going to take care of our test case, or our weird case with a equal to b. We can return a. We could alternatively just write b as well, but let's stick with a for now. And again, we're going to declare sum as 0 because we know we're going to be adding to a sum. And now this little note kind of gives you a hint. A and b are not ordered, so there's kind of 2 cases where a is less than b, and the next case is going to be where a is greater than b. And so if a is less than b, we're going to want to loop through from a to b, or a in range. And in range function, it calls 3 parameters, start, stop, and then step. So we're going from a, because we know a is less than b, all the way to b plus 1, because we want to include b. It says including here, and then our step is 1. Close that parentheses, and now we're just going to add to sum our I, which is looping through. And then similarly, if a is greater than b, we're going to want to do a similar for loop for I in range b. We're going to go from b to a plus 1, and then we're stepping. Our steps are 1. So just to reiterate, range, it needs 3 parameters, start, stop, and then step. It's important to know and understand this. And then, of course, we're going to add sum plus 1. And then lastly, we're just going to return our sum. So when we call the function define get sum, we input a and b. If a is equal to b, then we're going to return a. If a is less than b, or if a is greater than b, we're going to just loop through from a to b or from b to a. We're going to add all those numbers up to sum and then return that sum. So we're going to go ahead and test it, see if it passes. Yep. And then we're going to attempt it. And you see we tested some positive cases, some negative cases, and then some other different cases. I'm going to go ahead and submit that. And then last but not least, the last problem we're doing is by 3 or not by 3. That is the question. And again, it's level 7 kata. And this is actually similar to the first kata we did about getting the sum of the digits. But for this one, it kind of just explains that everyone in elementary school learned the trick where to determine if a number is divisible by 3, you just add all the digits. And if that number is divisible by 3, then the number is the number itself, the original number. So it kind of wants us to do the same thing. So we're going to need to sum the digits and then see if that sum is divisible by 3. Return true if it is. If it's not, return false. So let's just jump right in here. So first, again, since we're going to be adding to a sum, we want to declare sum as 0. And we're going to loop through our string here. And as you can see, I didn't have to convert st into a string because it already is a string, but we will have to convert the lm to an int. So sum plus equals int lm. And now we have our sum, and now we want to use the modulus operator to determine if sum is divisible by 3. So if sum, this modulus operator is the percent sign, if sum is divided by 3, if the remainder of that is 0, then we want to return true. True. And then if sum modulus operator 3 is not equal to 0, then we can return false. And you could also just do else return false here, but just to kind of show our thought process, I think it's a little bit more complete to include this. And so we're going to go ahead, test it, attempt it. Sometimes if it doesn't let you test or attempt, then you just have to refresh the page. I like to copy my code and then paste it right back in, and that usually fixes that little bug. So go to we passed all the tests, and now we see if we did. We passed all the bigger tests, or the random tests as well as the basic tests, and that's it. So that's 3 pretty basic level 7 kata. Hope you enjoyed the video.